Welcome back to the Whole Health Empowerment Project podcast. Today, we are talking about why so many women over 40 feel like they crave sugar and carbs more than you used to. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack willpower, and not because you are addicted to food. There are real biological and emotional reasons that this may be happening to you, especially if you're going through perimenopause or menopause. If you have ever wondered, why do I crave sweets at night? Why do I feel out of control around carbs? Why can I eat healthy all day long and then overeat later? Why does stress make me want sugar immediately to feel better? If any of these sound like you, or if you've asked yourself those questions, then this episode is for you. First, let's talk about why sugar and carb cravings increase once you are over the age of 40. Well, we know that as you start to age, hormones affect appetite and cravings. As estrogen and progesterone start to fluctuate during perimenopause, and as estrogen starts to decrease in menopause, many women will start to notice changes in hunger and fullness, mood, energy, cravings for food, and emotional regulation. Estrogen helps support insulin sensitivity and appetite regulation. As estrogen declines, especially as you go into menopause, blood sugar can become more unstable. And when your blood sugar is more unstable or more unpredictable, you may notice that you eat something and then your energy starts to crash afterwards. Or maybe you're eating something and you have this sense of increased hunger. Or maybe you have more cravings for like quick energy foods, like foods that are sugar laden or are like refined carbs, like chips and pretzels and donuts and cookies and things like that. Your brain is trying to solve an energy problem very quickly, and those foods get the energy to your brain very quickly. Sugar and carbs are the body's fastest source of fuel, so the brain naturally starts pulling you in that direction to consume them. And with the changes and the fluctuating hormone levels, those are the foods that you're going to commonly crave. When you are stressed, you may notice that you are having a ton of cravings. You may notice a huge increase in cravings when you're stressed. And why that is when you're chronically stressed, you have this elevated cortisol. And that can be caused by not just stress, by emotional exhaustion, being completely overwhelmed, having terrible or really poor sleep, which is very common in menopause. Your body is going to become more likely to crave the things that are going to make you feel the best, the most quickly, and that tends to be the sugar, the refined carbs, all those really good things that you're going to want. You're going to get that immediate satisfaction from, and then you're probably not going to feel so great after you've consumed them. We know that sugar and highly processed carbs, they temporarily increase dopamine, so you're going to get that dopamine hit. And they also increase serotonin, and it's going to help, the two of those are going to help create a sense of pleasure, escape, calm, comfort, relief, all of those things. And so typically you're going to start to have these cravings that happen at night, after a really stressful day, when you're mentally or emotionally exhausted, because your nervous system is looking for relief, not just food. But your brain is designed to keep you safe and energized. So when you're feeling this way, when you're feeling stressed or depleted or underfed or understimulated or overstimulated and just pure exhaustion, food becomes a really quick solution to find the relief, to find the calmness, to find the comfort that you may be looking for. Making it worse is that if your blood sugar swings or your blood sugar is all over the place, it's going to make all of that worse. And for many women, we've probably grown up eating like very little protein during the day, or maybe just a little coffee or tea in the morning. Maybe we skip meals. Maybe we restrict carbs. Maybe we're trying to be quote unquote good in what we're eating. And then because we're kind of underfueled or we're not eating the right macronutrients during the day, then you may notice that your blood sugar drops, your energy crashes, your hunger hormones will rise, and your brain is just like, okay, give me some quick energy. And so that quick energy becomes carbs and food that's going to give you the energy that your body's asking for. And it's not simply about emotional eating. It's this, your body is trying to compensate for not getting enough nourishment during the day. And so it's trying to force you to get that nourishment that you're trying to accomplish. And so you may notice that you go all throughout the day, but then at nighttime, your body is like, all right, give me what I need. Give me more of what I need. We also notice probably that if you haven't had a good sleep, that your cravings are going to increase. That sleep deprivation changes your hunger hormones, and that when you don't sleep well, your ghrelin increases. That increases your hunger. Your leptin decreases, reduces your fullness. And so you have this increase in hunger, this decrease in fullness, and you're going to be having this craving. And typically when we're exhausted, we're not craving like a protein and a veggie. Your brain is trying to get it what it feels like it needs and the energy that it needs. So it's going to crave things that are going to give you that energy quick, like sugar and bread and chips and foods that are highly rewarding, highly satisfying in the moment. And that has nothing to do with a fault of you. It's biology. It's not failure. And I want you to understand that, because then if you can understand that, then you can kind of let yourself off the hook and really start to figure out, okay, where can I make some changes that are going to help in the long run, especially if you find yourself in a place, which most of us are going to be in. I think even when I've had times where I'm not really having urges or cravings, I think I'm a little bit off the hook, and then it doesn't take long. Something happens or something is a little bit out of whack in my schedule and it comes right back. So I think it's important to kind of understand what this etiology is for you. So let's talk about what urges to eat actually mean. Because I think a lot of times we associate an urge with a physical sense of hunger, but it may not be. This urge to eat may be related to stress. It might be that you're tired. It might just be a habit that you eat the same time every day. So you're going to eat right now because this is what you do. You could be overly restricting, and so you have an urge to eat something else. It can be that you have emotions that you are overwhelmed with, or you're mentally exhausted. And many women will think like, I need more discipline so that I don't give into that urge. But I want you to start thinking about it in a way that's more biology related, that your body is probably asking you for something. It may be asking you for comfort or regulation or stimulation or support. That's what your body's asking you to do when you start having cravings. So I think it's important to understand like what is kind of going on in your day and what is it that your body may need from you. And I think as women, we go about our day that we're going. But if we actually take a couple minutes and we really start to like kind of think about what's happening in our body and really sit in it for a minute, we'll probably be able to really start to understand that. But I think for most of us, we're so overwhelmed with all that we have to do that it's hard to take a minute. And it sounds crazy even as I'm saying it, but I know I'm guilty of this. And I'm like, I just got to keep moving forward. And so let's start thinking about that as we go through the episode sometime that we can kind of tap into what is going on, because our body is really smart and it's telling us what it needs. Let's now talk about your nervous system and what it could be asking for. We are giving it food because we feel all of these things, but perhaps that the cravings isn't actually about food. That maybe your nervous system is seeking rest or calm or connection or relief or some kind of comfort. And food temporarily provides some of those feelings because it affects your dopamine, your serotonin. But it really, what is happening is that you're using food as a coping tool. And if you primarily alleviate those emotions by eating, then the underlying need or the underlying feeling never gets addressed. And so I think it's also about asking yourself, instead of thinking, okay, what should I eat to help with my cravings, start to think about, what does your nervous system need right now? Because it will help you create that awareness that instead of having that automatic reaction that, oh, I have to eat something to calm my cravings, looking into the bigger picture of what's going on with you to figure out what it is you need. Because if you just find comfort in food, then you never get to the root of it. And then over time, it just becomes a problem and it's very hard to control the cravings. But if you're able to really start to be like, okay, this is what I need, then you can give yourself that and not food, which your body isn't asking for. It's really asking for, if it's comfort that it's looking for, then perhaps you will find more and you'll get longer relief instead of eating by maybe drinking a cup of tea, journaling, sitting down, having some quiet time, maybe taking a shower, maybe calling a friend. So it's important because eating would probably never solve that feeling of comfort. It would in the moment, but it won't in the long term. Whereas if you give yourself what your body is really asking for, which is the comfort, then you can start to be like, okay, I think I need to have a little bit of time, where I'm going to drink a cup of tea and really start to reconnect to myself. If you feel like that your brain is just kind of seeking dopamine, it needs some kind of stimulation, then it's trying to figure out, is there something enjoyable that you can do? Do you need to take a walk? Can you listen to music? Something that's going to stimulate you or bring you some joy. If you need energy, then trying to figure out, okay, what do I need during the day? Do I need to make sure that I'm eating where I'm not spacing out too much in between meals? And so it's all of these different things trying to figure out what the underlying emotion is that you're looking for. If you need connection because you feel emotionally depleted, maybe you need to have a conversation with your friend and to feel seen and to have that community or that connection or that human connection that you may not have gotten today. So it's important to understand what the feeling is and what your nervous system is asking for besides food if there's something else going on. And I want to also talk about what actually helps reduce sugar and carb cravings, because that's why you're really listening, right? I have these cravings and I don't really want to sit with myself for 5 minutes. I don't really want to feel comfortable or more comfort. I want to stop that feeling immediately. Well, some of the things that help, I think you already know. I feel like it's all of the things that you hear in this perimenopause, menopause phase. The first thing that's going to help is to eat more protein, which I feel like protein is so overhyped and people are eating way too much protein. But there is a need for protein during this time, and protein is helpful because it helps stabilize blood sugar. So instead of having these ups and downs and these spikes and then drops in your blood sugar levels, it'll feel stable, and then everything will start to feel stable. You're not going to feel the highs and feel the lows. Protein is going to help reduce cravings. It's going to increase that feeling of fullness. And of course, it's going to support muscle growth during menopause. I think a helpful starting point is not that you have to get like 150 grams of protein. Remember that protein is based on your weight, and it's typically not your body weight in pounds, it's your body weight in kilos. So it's typically whatever your weight is in pounds divided by 2.2, and then somewhere along the way you times that by 1 to 1.2. And that may change too. If you're really doing a lot of weightlifting, you're going to need to have more protein than that. So I think instead of getting into what that is, really thinking about having some protein at every meal that you have. And if you're going to have a snack, have protein in there too, because that protein is going to help stabilize any of the carbs that you have in that meal. Most people are going to eat protein such as Greek yogurt, eggs, cottage cheese, fish, smoothies, whatever it is that you like to eat when it comes to protein. The other thing that's going to help with reducing your sugar and carb cravings is going to be not skipping meals throughout the day. If you're under eating, it's going to create this intense nighttime craving, because all throughout the day, you're not giving your body what it needs. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, I need it, give it to me. And so if you're eating regular meals that are spaced evenly throughout the day, it's going to help your body feel safe, supported, and nourished. And then hopefully you're not going to have those cravings. And then also one of the other things, very popular and very, very true with menopause and perimenopause, is that you need to increase your fiber. Most people aren't getting nearly enough fiber. The recommendations are a minimum of 25 grams of fiber a day. Most people are getting probably less than half of that. And why fiber is important is it helps slow digestion. It helps you feel full. It decreases any risk of colorectal cancer, which we know is rising in younger people like us. And it helps stabilize blood sugar. When I say younger people, I'm actually not that young. I mean, probably you may be younger than me. So helpful foods that have fiber in them are your beans, your lentils, your oats, chia seeds, fruits, veggies, whole grains, all of those things. Usually not your refined carbs, and usually not the quick things that are going to spike up your blood sugar. Usually it's the things that, like your fruits and veggies and things that are going to have some carbs in them, but they tend to be your carbs that are going to give you a lot more nutrition or more bang for your buck than your refined carbs. And then I think really thinking about not labeling food as good or bad or clean or unclean, because if you're restricting some foods, we know it often intensifies your cravings. So if you are over restricting or just saying like, oh, I'm not going to eat that food group, then a lot of times what happens is your brain becomes more preoccupied with that food. And then that food starts to feel forbidden. And then it starts to feel like, okay, I'm going to crave that food even more. Have you noticed that? So if you're able to be flexible and not have a lot of rules around it and not see food as good or bad, it might help with the cravings in the sense that you're not going to be overly restricted, and hopefully that will help reduce your cravings. I think it's important also to kind of, when you feel the cravings, to start to figure out, okay, what's going on here? And not judging yourself, but really just, like having this conversation with yourself. Like, am I hungry? Am I tired? Am I stressed? Did I skip too many meals today? Did I not eat enough? Because even that short little pause or taking that 1 second is going to help you when it comes to impulsive eating. And so just kind of having that one little what's going on in my brain here? And then knowing that these cravings are normal, there's not something wrong with you, that all of these cravings and all of these things that are happening in your body at this point in time when everything feels so different, it's your body's way of giving you and providing you with information. And it's as you get older, especially now, it's trying to figure out what is it telling you? And this can be really hard, again, because our lives are so crazy and we don't slow down to really even think about what we need, let alone listen to what our body is saying. But I think it's kind of worth it to say, all right, do I need rest? Do I need more sleep? Do I need better blood sugar balance because maybe I'm eating soft pretzels and potato chips throughout the day and I can feel my blood sugar is spiking and then dropping? Do I need stress reduction because I'm in this chronic stress with my life, with my kids, with my parents, whatever that looks like? Is that really what I'm looking for, and not really the urge to eat, or not really cravings? Because that's going to be a longer term approach than just eating something. Do you need more consistency? Do you need more regulation in your nervous system? Or do you feel like you really are malnourished or not nourished enough and you do need to eat? So the goal here is not that you're never going to overeat. The goal is to have more tools available for you so that food is not the only thing helping you cope, that you have all these other tools. Because with anything, when it comes to women's health, with weight, with anything, with hormones, it's not usually one thing that's going to work. And usually it's not one thing that works for a whole bunch of people. So it tends to be like there are all these tools out there, and then you're trying to figure out the tool that's going to work for you. And so think about it in this way, like start listening to your body, because that's what's going to help you put in your toolkit so that you can start to feel like you're supporting yourself, your nervous system, that you're nourishing your body adequately, that you're having less cravings, that they feel easier to manage. All of the things we talk about on this podcast are things that may or may not help you. We just talk about them because they're issues that some women are having, but maybe you're not. And so it's just trying to figure out what you can put in your toolkit that's going to help you get through this phase of your life and continue as you continue to age. In closing, if you've ever struggled with sugar cravings, carb cravings, emotional eating, this constant need to snack, you're not failing. Your body is changing, your hormones are changing, and your nervous system may be carrying more stress than ever before. Because remember, you're not 20 without a lot of responsibility. You're older than that. And you're probably dealing with your career, your kids, your parents, whatever it is to you. I know that it's not easy, and I know your life probably feels a lot harder than you thought it would be. And so sometimes the most supportive thing that you can ask yourself is to figure out, what is your body communicating? I think a lot of us do this, like, how can I stop this craving? How can I stop this craving? Why am I having this craving? We beat ourselves up. But if you start to think about, like, what's my body trying to tell me? Well, then that's what's going to kind of get you off the hook. And that's probably a more supportive, helpful thing that's going to lead to an answer that's more helpful and useful as you continue to age and as you continue to experience some of these urges and cravings that you may be having. So if this episode helped you and you want to share it with another woman who feels frustrated by the cravings that they're having, then please share that. Because on this podcast, we're trying to look and give you realistic nutrition support for perimenopause and menopause. And there are so many conversations happening around hormones and protein and mindset and sustainable wellness. And a lot of times it's not really based on evidence. And so this podcast is hopefully going to give you that. It's going to help give you what you need to have the long-term, so that you feel like you're able to manage all of the things that you've been trying to manage, but that you feel like you have a little bit more support, and that you understand that your body is changing, your hormones are changing, and that there are supportive, sustainable ways to help you feel better in your body, to help you feel more balanced and more nourished. And it's not about making these big changes right now. It's just trying to figure out, hey, does this relate to me today? And if it does, what is one small thing that maybe you can put into your day tomorrow or the next time that you have a craving or an urge, and then continue to practice that consistently so that over time you feel like you have a little bit more control over it. So I thank you all for listening, and I will see you guys back here next week.